All right, folks, we're back, and we are just waiting on soO to begin the finals. So it is a best of 5 grand finals. Wait, did I lose you? Hello?
No, I'm here.
Oh, I guess you muted. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I guess normally I have your camera on, so that's why I used to check. I never have to ask, like, if you're still there. But yeah, no camera for today, just because we're, like, already through the thick of it, and screw it. Let's be honest, nobody loves having their face out there. I'm trying to find the commands, though. I don't remember where they were. I really wanted to start another bank heist while you were here, though, because the bank... I did it by mistake. I didn't realize both bots had a bank heist, so I typed in bank heist, so we kind of robbed 2 banks at the same time earlier. Oh! New bank heist! Okay. So, I don't know how many coins you have, because you just got here, so you might just have to bank heist with, like, 1 to get into it. But the RP for this thing is actually pretty sick.
Okay, so it's just like a regular bank heist?
Yeah, I'm gonna bank heist 3,000 for the other bot, and then bank heist 1 for this bot.
Bank heist 3.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into game at number 1 of the Olimoleague Grand Finals. Oh, I know, you're like, wait, isn't this GSL? No, guys, it's the Olimoleague. This is what I love about it. This is a crowd-funded event. Made possible thanks to the Patreon, so make sure to go over to patreon.com/holymoly, check it out. If you want replays of this too, if I'm these players, I'm paying that like $5 or whatever it is, $15, whatever for replays, because you got the perfect, well, I guess they don't need it, but other players, I mean, to study from like these awesome folks. But getting into map number 1, in the top right side of the map, I know he's got some tricks up his sleeve. The question is whether he reveals any of them here. It's the Red Zerg soO.
In the bottom left, as the Blue Terran, it is GuMiho.
Also, real quick roundup here, guys, because we've missed them. We've been so busy on these games. Thank you, Krugerson, for the 38-month resub. Molded Pixels for 5. Scalin for 17. And I think we got Golua, but just in case, for 6 months as well. Thank you guys for your support of the channel. We do appreciate it.
I'm trying to figure out this bank heist thing. So what am I supposed to be paying attention to?
Well, it's not started yet. It'll get going in a sec. It's like doing the whole gather it up, right?
Okay.
But you'll see it when the RP starts. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll do the same RP or not, but it was like talking about like smoke grenades and muzzle flashes and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Okay. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on that.
Gotta have my gun check ready when I copy pasta. The other one that was kind of cool, they did this arena battle, which people just died brutally and savagely in. But anyways, the bot's got a lot of cool things, guys. And again, ! GatherBot if you want to take a peek at some of the options you guys have. For us, though, it's learning, and I really...
Overlord's dying.
Oh, sorry. I was tabbed out. But now I'm in. Because I had to go respond to that question real quick. Well, the Overlord dies, and that kind of sucks. Both players are supply blocked. That doesn't happen often.
Oh, yeah. I think I had more of a point.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. The last thing about the bot, too, though, is like there's a lot of really cool things to do with it, but as you guys just saw listed, there are real-world prizes. So that's part of why I want to get involved with the program for it. So we're in the closed beta, and hopefully we'll be tailoring this to all of your needs and ours.
Ooh. Very cool. Well... He didn't even need to bring the barracks, which is kind of funny. So while that did delay the reactor little bits, he still has the Marines protect against the Lings, and soO is not going to get anything done with what was actually a little more aggression than necessary. You know, there wasn't just 2 Lings, that was actually 6, which I'm like wondering about. I guess he really wanted to try and save the one Overlord, but too big of a map.
Oh yeah. Also, I don't know if you caught this. The bot, for now, I've temporarily named the currency Makarovs.
I did. I noticed it.
Very appropriate considering the way we had Partoufs for the last one.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, so 3rd CC is not something that is easy to get away with. But if you pick off the early scouting Overlord, and you know that there's a very low chance they're going to scout this, I think this is actually a really cool, bold move to make.
Bold move. The thing is, like, people were joking about, you know, what if this would happen, would just cheese each other out and not play seriously and blah, blah, blah. I'd imagine it's more like, you know, I would think actually it's more like macro. do a macro game, like the perfectly normal game, because then they can read some into that, like it's like information is information, but save your trickery for the finals.
I forgot to go delete that Neko Atsumi tweet from BaseTradeTV. Got messaged about it. Why are you guys tweeting about cats? I mean, well, in fairness, that's kind of our shtick, though, really.
Yeah, like, why are you asking why are we tweeting about it?
You know what? I'm going to leave it up there. I'm going to leave this just like, adorable little random
better.
picture.
All right, a random Marine that gets to draw fire. The Spore Crawler was more for a Liberator, but could help out against the Widow Mine.
Nice splits out of soO. Actually, so that's another thing that I kind of forgot about, having been washed over by the GuMiho stats series. soO's micro and reaction time was insane against Innovation. Double armor. Oh no! Sorry, I'm really excited now. But I was gonna say his reaction times versus Innovation were so cool. Innovation had lost like 13 medevacs and 30 some odd Widow Mines trying to constantly drop him over and over and over while fighting, while attacking with drilling claws, and soO never lost more than like the most minimal amount of units possible. And I really loved the fact that even though Innovation and him were both sitting there on like 80 to 100 workers, they both had macro going crazy for them. Like soO never skipped a beat. He never missed the defense once in his game versus Innovation. So,
pretty epic.
I mean, GuMiho, he's a bit of a slower player when it comes to mech. That's just the style of play. I cannot imagine soO gets caught off guard by anything other than the fact that it is, in fact, actually mech. No scouting whatsoever to see this.
Yeah. GuMiho certainly pulls it out every now and then, but it's not usually on Proxima. We do see it. And it is like once every best of 5 or something like that. Maybe twice. And we might see it again as being Gamer 1 and all, but it's cool to see. It's actually coming back into style, I suppose. So it's not just him, like, what are you doing revealing your secrets? You should have been hiding the mech build for that one game in the best of 7 finals. Like, no, he does it often enough.
Actually,
I'm sure he does it plenty on ladder.
That's a good point, because I was going to say there might be a reason to play mech, and that's that you don't want to dance around. We talk about hiding builds, but yeah, he does play mech. Like, and
yeah.
Oh, we saw Keen actually do this over the weekend, which was great too. And I think a lot of proof being shown that if you're playing aggressive with mech, whether it's double Thor drops or your tank pushes unsieged, there's a lot of power to mech, especially if it's unseen.
So soO, yeah, still hasn't seen it. And, you know, over the weekend we saw mech and someone, actually I don't remember who it was. Someone, Leenock maybe? Yeah, I guess it was Leenock versus Keen, was what it was. But anyways, like, the mech player was going for Hellbat Thor, so the Banelings that ended up getting Baneling speed, I thought was like, okay, that wasn't as much of a mistake as I thought it was. But that was like a lot of Hellbats, so I thought it was going to be helpful. GuMiho doesn't open just pure Hellbats with a Hellbat push and Hellbat attacks. Like, he's getting some to round out his army, but there's the tank production, there's Thor production. I don't really know how useful these upgrades are going to be for soO. The Spire can always do something, but...
Those Thors are going to be so sick. They're going to have armor upgrades. They're not going to take any damage from these Lings. The Glaive Worm bounces are going to do jack all. Like, and here's that double Thor drop.
Is he really still not even, like... God.
I don't think he knows.
Okay, now he saw the Thors of the Lings, but geez.
Okay, so double Thor drops look weird. And honestly, this might fail miserably. That being said... it still can do a lot of damage in the time it takes to fail. It can knock down a hatchery. It can slay those mutas with a dragon drop. Lings get on top of this, but realistically, these Thors aren't going to be taking much damage from them at all.
I like this little combo. I mean, I said it's not many Hellions, but enough to wash off Lings.
And of course, with the mutas being out, the Thors are the anti-air that he needs. Shots will get fired.
And micro. If there was Blue Flame, or if there was like twice as many Hellbats, that is a very deadly attack. But it looks like soO's going to be able to clean this up at the loss of a lot of Lings and mutas, though.
He could have saved that for one more shot, but decided not to. Yeah, that was costly. That was not an easy cleanup. I mean, for GuMiho, yeah, that was a costly drop too. So I can't really say anyone comes out super ahead for this. One thing I do like, though, is that +2 weapons is already on the way. And if you guys don't know, that's the Thor critical upgrade. That's the one that makes it popping off mutas a lot easier.
It is mostly Thor, by the way. Like, he opened up, I guess, defensive with a couple of tanks, but now it's Thor Hellion. Not more than a couple of tanks, but still. Back in that Thor Hellion. He's got all the upgrades, almost timing out with this push. soO is trying to transition away from Ling Muta, because I don't think he really wanted that as his composition mainly in the first place. but is now, you know, stuck with all the upgrades. Maybe we're trying to get the Hive. We'll never know because he has to use what he has now, and that's still Ling, Baneling, Muta. He's making a lot of Lings and a lot of Banelings.
Yeah, try and wash this off. So I don't know if you saw, but the bank heist failed and a lot of people got thrown in jail. So you don't just like die, you get thrown in jail. Tanks are not going to really care about the Banelings. It's so much more about these Mutas and Lings. So this has fallen a little bit flat for GuMiho. But now he's starting to clean this up, and he gets a couple more volleys on those Mutas. Oh, God. And as we can see, the Thors just don't take damage.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. You know, that was before 2-2 finished.
It's unfortunate.
Yes, exactly. But even before the upgrades finished, GuMiho ends up saving his Thors. The Hellions going to be easily replaced and pretty quick to it as well. This is still a very scary push, and soO, he's still trying with Ling Baneling, but he really wanted to get the Swarm Hose, and those are only going to pop in like 10 seconds. Wow, they take a long time to do.
I really like that he knows to do this, though. We've had so many question marks on our Korean friends who are fantastic players, but don't feel like they know what to do versus mech. soO, I think if he had scouted this sooner, had he been more well prepared for it, we would have seen him crush this.
Well, yeah, or GuMiho is a more passive player.
Well, there's that too, but these are not staggered actually, so he could just pick up and then he did. Oh, I love it. He did it on purpose. He unloaded the Thors not through a misclick, but to bait the Locusts to the ground so they wouldn't fly on top of the tanks until it was too late. That was such a small but minute and important detail. GG.
Cool mech game.
Very cool mech game.
Back.
Don't get mech often. But all right, folks. I guess what we'll do is another quick commercial break as we get into game 2. Stick around. We'll see you soon. All right, folks, we played those ads really short. We, in fact, cut them off early because the game got started a bit sooner than expected. There was actually a really fast lobby. Kudos to Crank or Olimoleague, whoever's hosting. But, yeah, getting into game number 2 already here for the Olimoleague Grand Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, in the top left, we have the red Zerg player, soO.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it is GuMiho.
Alright, so if you're a mech fan, clearly you enjoyed that game. If you're just an average fan of both, you still probably really enjoyed that game. But for the soO fans out there, I know are a little bit sad because it was so very clear that he knew the path to take, the units to make, and even with the units that he had, we'll say incorrectly made, like the Lings against Blue Flame Hellbats or whatever, like he still was staggering them in. His control was good. It was heartbreaking to watch him lose because it was kind of almost like it's like a hard counter, really. Your opponent's going mech, they've got tanks and Hellbats, and you've got Lings. What can you really do?
Yeah. Yeah, and unless GuMiho had only been building, because I think if it was only building Thors and Hellbats, maybe his composition actually is fine. Then he has enough of it too, because he knows like when GuMiho is gonna push. But I think GuMiho just being, you know, like getting a mix of units from mech, tanks, Thors, and Hellbats, but also his just like aggressive use of mech throws off a lot of Zerg players. So, you know, soO could have waited a long time against a different player and still been able to transition safely.
Well, so here's a really big question I have. Oh, shout out to Secure Bit Boss. That Overlord got picked off early, right? I really wonder if GuMiho was planning to go from mech from the get-go, or if he saw an opportunity, like denied scouting. You know how bad Zerg players deal with it already. Like that may have been the trigger to go mech rather than the game plan from the get-go.
Yeah, it's a decent question. Maybe the fact that he, you know, was getting a third CC anyway and was like, yeah, I could take mech from here.
Well, I feel like that third CC though, like you really could play that either way. Like that could have been a bio game viably too.
Yeah, you could have. 3CC has definitely fallen out of favor, though. I think there was a time where it was like 2-1-1 all the way, and the people were like, it's not working, so we're going to be trying to be greedy, and then that didn't really work, and it's back to like factory openers, which you see here from GuMiho. But the 3CC for bio always felt like it pushed aggression off too much. You know, like you didn't have Hellions, you didn't have drops, and I do like it, I think, more with mech, but I never really thought about it before, just because it's not something we see too often.
Yeah, I'm actually really First off, I'm hoping we see more of it. I'm a big mech fan. You guys have known this for a while. But secondly, it's so funny to me that there's been all these prospects of like nerfing Zerg or like adding a new unit, or like how do you make mech viable? And somehow it turns out just one extra armor on the Thor is like the key we've been looking for this whole time.
I know people were experimenting before, but it's always seems to be like, yeah, it's gonna push people to actually legitimately experiment and do it more than once. Which GuMiho, he was occasionally throwing in a mech game because he was once upon a time the mech god, but now he can do it like repeatedly because apparently it's gonna be viable again.
By the way, do you see the Bit Boss taxing people maliciously? This is why you need to take him down, guys. Oh, these Hellions might not be enough to hold. He's doing some really good micro, but so is soO to dance around the flames.
That is kind of funny. The Lings are taking a long time to clean up. The second SCV even. So this was, I mean, it was you know, Lings against Hellions. How much is that ever really going to do? But I think the damage and time bot was actually decent. You know, GuMiho might want to repair those Hellions now and not send them out immediately. And if he doesn't repair them, but he's trying to do a Hellbat push, that's even easier for soO to clean up. So he did get a nice attack with that. Not quite with the scouting, but I think he saw the cloak. Yeah, he did.
Sorry, I'm actually being so terrible right now. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So he sees Starport with cloak, so no 3 CC this time. Do that confirmation. Of course, there could be one eventually, but it is going to be mech again. Double armory with a 3rd CC
sick.
on location. Wow.
Well, so this is where it gets weird for soO, right? Because Hellions in a cloaked Banshee. That's absolutely a normal bio opener too. In fact, we've seen it more often than not in recent days leading into specifically that. So it's really, this is the linchpin, I feel. Like soO at some point, like if you had time to analyze the replays between games, this is what you look for, right? But this also does, seeing this twice in a row now really does make me question not so much about the reaction to like the night scouting or anything else, but it's like play mech in the Olimoleague, play bio in GSL.
Maybe. I think he's just gonna continue mixing up the builds of either one, because yeah, in GSL he could throw out the single armory Hellbat Banshee push into bio, and that would successfully trip out. Well, maybe successfully trip up soO, but tries to find a couple of drones.
It's a good split.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Takes care of them. But these Hellions, like, you know, if it's bio again, like, do you really want to sacrifice what is your only scouting right now? I guess the Banshees as well. But anyways, but with mech, you're kind of making Hellions all the time. So there's no fear of a Ling run by, usually. And, yeah, there's no fear of just running out of Hellions.
The Banshees managed to live, just chilling right now. Cloak ready to go. Or drones on the way to replace the ones that were lost. This was that map, too, by the way, where soO went, like 100-something drones. It was kind of crazy.
soO continues to see more Hellions. That is kind of a tip that it could be mech. The problem with soO last game was not just that he didn't have an Overlord scout, like he didn't even try and attack. He had one Ling outside of the 3rd base, and that's what eventually saw Thor drop. So that was a long time without much information at all. So if you see a lot of Hellions, like 8+ Hellions, you should be a little suspicious. You should be like, maybe he's going mech. And I think he actually knows, so there's an inquisition bit already on the way.
Well, last time we saw the Swarmers come out, it was desperation. The timing wasn't there. So we didn't really see him use them, quote-unquote, correctly. Like, he didn't stagger them. GuMiho baited out the landing of the Locust, right? I'm wondering if this time soO will get a bit more of, like, I don't know, calm, collected approach to it, or if we'll see him still, like, just kind of blow his load and hope for the best. Lack of a better analogy.
Yeah, I don't know. He is going to go for Stormwolves, because I was thinking, like, also on a big map, if he did have Lings running around, he maybe could try and just, like, tech first, build army later. But he is going to get those Swarm Hosts.
This whole position Banshee's getting a lot done. 6 drone kills. Almost was going to deny upgrades, too, at this rate.
Yeah, I was, like, a little worried. But Hellbat's once again on the 4th base, and this is just, like, the weird, like, why is... Like, it's one thing to have Hellion run-bys, too, which I guess mech players do all the time. But, like, these Hellbat pushes, like, very light quotes pushes, they can sometimes, like, get the 4th base kill. They already got it canceled once. They're looking for a kill this time.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's been softened up. You know what's going to finish it off? These 2 Thors.
Yeah. Not as much room to breathe
Uh-oh.
with what GuMiho is trying to do here.
This is actually huge for GuMiho to catch this, because now he can load the Thors and pummel away at the Swarm hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And run away from
get
Locust.
wasted. Yeah,
Yeah,
one
he
Hellion.
popped all of them.
That's the
Oopsie.
problem with this. This is what I talked about. Like, will we see him use the staggered approach, or will this be like a little bit more of like, okay, there's everything, hope for the best? And I mean, granted, that was panic, sure, but soO's not able to use these Swarm hosts now for like another minute.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary, but you don't want to just have the Thor left alone. So the medevac getting low was scary enough. Backs away. He's got upgrades once again on the way. Blue Flame 2-2, I think even faster than last game. It feels faster. Yeah, and he could move across the map with a pretty deadly push. Because I don't think soO's really prepared to try and stop him. You know, like not just about staggering the Swarm host, but staggering a mech push. And soO, he's trying to get his upgrades, a better army, and that hive for what I assume is going to be Vipers.
Ah, yeah, that'd be interesting. Ultras don't really have the same role, but he's still going to go for the Ultra Cavern.
I mean, I was like a little suspicious about Vipers because they really aren't that like, well, once I have them, mech sucks unit that they were in the past. Yeah. But their abducts are decent. Well, you know, against someone who's going well on Thors.
First up, there's a lot of drop Thors too, right? Let's go back though to that what you just said, like the past, because I kind of forgot GuMiho made a big chunk of his career off of playing mech. So while there's not been a big place for it in Legacy of the Void, you guys got to understand this is like one of the most experienced mech players there are out there.
Yeah, yeah. And if he figured that Vipers were on the way, like one of the problems, I guess, is not just that they aren't as good as they were, is that like certain players got really good defending against them. He'd be building Vikings, he'd be transforming his Thors, sniping them with a big old tank push on the ground, and there wouldn't be much that soO could do. So soO is trying to get to, you know, not spellcasters, but actual units, Ultras and maybe Broodlords.
Well, so this is why I think Ultras are really interesting, because Thors, we don't see them often enough, but Pult would actually build these, if you remember, back when people were trying to figure out Ultralisks, and Thors can go toe-to-toe with Ultras.
Yeah, oh my god, that one game so long ago. The mass... Oh no, actually that was Unsieged Tanks. But also I remember seeing one with Thor. Remember the Unsieged Tank game?
Yeah. Actually, I remember a lot of Euthermal's Unsieged Tank games too, where he was like...
yeah. Well, anyways, they do pack a punch. It's not just Ultras.
Well, I think you were right on the Broodlord call, but I still think it's really going to be an interesting dynamic here, because both the Locusts and the Broodlings will get washed off by Blue Flame very easily. And these Thors have got armor enough that they're not going to really care.
Yeah.
And there's been no Swarm host harass whatsoever because of this constant aggression. So while these Thors aren't knocking down the base, and he's not getting there to slaughter the mineral lines, he's taking no damage at home, and he's just expanding like crazy here. Yeah,
that's definitely a worrying thing. You know, GuMiho's aggression is working out, and soO now has the answer with these Corruptors trying to take out the medevacs, but it's already bought GuMiho so much economy, so much production. He's getting an extra bases now, and soO, I mean, he's gonna have an okay army. You know, it's gonna be a big tussle in the middle of the map when they do collide finally, maybe even with even upgrades. But right now, GuMiho has control.
This Hellion run by though.
Oh god. I love the Thors to kill the Spine Growlers.
Well, actually, so things you can. I've done this so many times, right? This is the one interaction with StarCraft I might know that you don't. Where even if there's 5 Spine Crawlers in the base, 5 Hellions transforming into Hellbats can still take those on, even if they get caught mid-transform. The Hellbats are so strong, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, of course. Well, there's 8 Hellions are killing the drones anyway, but the Thors can kill static defense. They can also just kill that hatchery faster.
This was a nice pick off with those Corruptors too. Now these Thors are absolutely going to go down. The ones on the top side were of course transformed to try and snipe things off, so single target for the anti-armor. But man, this has been a bit of a weird game for soO. This is definitely not the cleanest we've seen a player approach mech, so while he might know better than most Korean Zerg, maybe still doesn't know best?
I don't know. He lets a tank army get through an entire map onto not just his base, but very close to like ledges, and that's already like a little bit worrying. He doesn't have any Vipers to even attempt to abduct or Blinding Cloud, so it is about the combination of units here. Like the Locusts actually got to do something. You can't have just like dead weight here as he attacks in.
This is why the unsieged tanks are so important, though. They just walk away, and by the time the Locusts land, they're almost dead.
Well, yeah, first of all, yeah, they just walked away. The Locusts were already almost dead. But even then, like, the Locust, only one unit could have attacked there when he was on that ramp. It was either going to be the Locust or the Ultras, because they'd derp out each other otherwise. Like, this is GuMiho, like, ideally for soO, like, he doesn't even have to take a fight on a choke. He attacks in the middle of the map, and he gets us around. And that's probably where soO's army looks really good. But right now, GuMiho is not being stopped.
I do like the continued Thor pressure, but man, unsieged tanks, as you can see, just chunk away those ultras. They attack so fast. Kiting with the Vikings too. There's so much good stuff going on for GuMiho, but soO does have a counter attack. 3 ultras on a run by is not normally what a run by is, and they're usually not met with Thors either. So well met and destroyed.
You know what I love is that, like, everyone makes fun of the Archon taking on the Ultra and the Legacy of the Void cinematic, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
A Thor could actually do that. I think a Thor would chop off an Ultra's tusk and kill it.
I want to imagine that wouldn't be the case. The Ultra would do that thing where it rears on its hind legs and the Thor would just shoot the tummy.
Yeah, and just like blast it out of the water. Yeah. Of course, we all know the Ultra would have like derped around the pylon a billion years.
This is like a dumb cinematic moment up here. Aliens trying to kite the Ultras.
Yeah. Yeah. While we were, I guess, watching the Ultra run by, GuMiho did figure it was safer to pull back, and I don't think he was worried about dealing with it really. I think he was more worried about being caught, you know, multitasking or out in the middle of the map like I was talking about. So
proof is in the pudding that we've seen it with Keenan Lenok just recently, and amongst other Olimoleaguers out there. Mech versus ground mech, versus Zerg can work. I am still a little astonished though we haven't seen any movement toward like Ravens at all. Like even just for a point defense run alone, we've seen actually adds so much value to this army.
People break those rocks.
I didn't even know there were rocks there, if we're gonna be completely honest right now.
I've never bothered. But no, this is GuMiho pulled back. He's getting, I mean, he's looking like real mech here with a bunch of like command centers, but like you said, like not even trying to get to Ravens. That's the real I'm gonna turtle and play, you know, obnoxious mech is when you see those extra starports come down. But instead, he went for I think a couple more factories and then drilling claws. So that's I guess this is a response to the Broodlords, but it's actually a response to a lot of things. I mean, the Corruptors chasing out his Vikings get caught by the drilling claws. The Locusts, I guess, could even be popped off by him.
I would actually say GuMiho, he's not struggling for anti-air. Like for those who don't know, this is going to match the Broodlord's range for range, and Thor's dealing like what is that like? Yes, 65 damage a shot to armored units.
Oh my God, so many bad things happened there. Swarmhost didn't have any Locusts, Ultras, Path. A Liberator managed to catch a couple of them because like the Corruptors weren't taking them out.
He just had to burn Parasitic Bomb. He just lands the Vikings. This will dodge the dot. Just leaves them in the sky. I love it.
You don't have to see that anymore is the silly thing too. This Parasitic Bomb isn't as scary as it was, but it's a very smart move.
Yeah. Locust, Broodlings, none of this really matters. The Vikings and the Thors are dealing with the anti-air. Not a problem. Even the Corruptors are pushed back.
Yeah. He really didn't need those drilling claws. He still has Reset Wood Mines.
Now, it's worth noting his army's pretty tattered and injured. Maybe some of this starts getting chipped away at, but GuMiho's got a massive bank. Both players have got a crazy bank when this goes on.
Yeah. But GuMiho has all these extra command centers. Some of them probably going to be orbitals.
soO's slow overlords are on the front line, which does create a problem. He now has to fight to protect them. Broodlords have been pretty much removed from play. I love the SCV pull for repairs!
I think it's a good amount, too.
It's huge. It's a huge deal.
He's still at 60 if they die.
The Vikings are barely going to beat out the Corruptors and live because of the repairs. GG.
Oh no. I feel like, you know, soO is like, this is my GSL, guys. This time I'm gonna win it. It's like his 5th or 6th GSL. And he's playing this series, and he's actually like, you know, pulling out his collar, starting to sweat a little bit.
Oh man, it's just like not like this. 2nd place in Olimoleague 2. He's like, not here. I thought I was safe. It's not an offline tournament.
Oof.
Oof, indeed. All right, well, let's see. soO's got map pick at least. He's got that much going for him, but we're going to go to a small commercial break. I see more people getting involved with the bot. You guys enjoying flipping the coins, opening the mystery bags. If you want to learn more about the bot, type !GatherBot. But also worth noting, if anybody donates, like for example, Diasodi donated $2. He actually ended up giving everyone else on the channel a mystery bag. So if you haven't opened your bag, you should. You can get some cool loot out of it. But we'll go to a break and we'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, we're getting into game number 3. We cut things short once again, so I'm not even going to bother trying to play as unless we have a lot more time for it. But this might just be the last game at this rate. It's been a tough run for this guy in the bottom right. Struggling against that mech, or struggling because he doesn't want to reveal his tactics for dealing with it. Either way, it's soO.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, it is GuMiho. Is that a bit of an early SCV to that natural? Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Ah, so he'll change this up. soO's going to be coming here prepared for Turtle Mech, not perhaps 3 Rax Reaper. Actually, just a note too, I made that joke, but it's entirely serious. soO, if I was soO in this situation, I would totally feign ignorance to mech. I would not mind losing the Olimoleague if it gave you an edge in GSL in any way, shape, or form. Because now maybe GuMiho may not have been prepared to do mech in the GSL finals, but he sees it floor soO in the Olimoleague finals. He's like, oh, maybe I'll take this to the big show. Goes to the big show. soO shows you he actually knows what to do. He knows what's up and shuts him down early. It's a free win.
Or mind games on mind games. GuMiho thought he was going to lose all 3 games by going mech because it's bad, and then he's going to go bio all GSL.
They're both trying to lose is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to read too much into it, right? And I don't want to create this false story that's not there. But that would, for me, be really cool if that was the case. Because I feel there's this level of StarCraft 2 where you're good, competitive, you can play the builds. But there is a level of mind games. And there's not like the boxer level that I've seen you describe where you're like messing with your opponent by typing in game necessarily. But there are a lot of build orders that get considered by pros, and there's a lot of assumptions made on past experiences. So I don't know, there's maybe a little tiny bit of viability to this, and it's not entirely riff logic for once.
If only it was allowed in professional games. I mean, the best thing we've gotten in StarCraft 2 is when like Golden, I think, when like up with his Jonah is like open up present.
Yeah. There's that. I remember that show match with him and Select too. Gets scouted. He's like, "Sup, son?" Spams it in chat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't get much else. But soO, I think, already scouted what's going on here. I think he saw like second Reaper, or he saw the 3 barracks, whichever one. Point is, here has a Roach one on the way, as well as speed. No drones here to kill. You don't get to see them kill larva very often.
No, but you know what? Whether you kill a larva or an egg, it's a good deny when you know you can't go elsewhere for the time being.
It's an excellent deny, really. Either there's a queen here, you're running away from lings, or they've actually produced in an egg. That one wasn't producing an egg until like way after, so.
This is still tough. I mean, these Reapers have met no opposition, and I think GuMiho's got to be feeling a little paranoid about that, right? You're like, I didn't shut this down that well.
Oh. I mean, soO's playing the long game out here, letting his Hatcher take some damage, you know, not bothering saturating it, because you really couldn't saturate it anyways. And I was going to say, not bother uses queens. Trying to sound out a little bit better with the Roaches? I don't know.
They've been revealed. I like this too. I hope soO actually holds this off so I can finally link one of these games where I say Roaches I think are way better than Lings.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like a lot of people say that they're much better. Like, you know, Terrans will say that's how they have difficulty with 3 Rax Reapers when people go Roaches. You'll hear from the like the Zergs, like Roaches make the macro game too difficult. So,
yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to each style, and I think it addresses your weakness is what matters most. Like, it doesn't matter how weak your macro game is if you never get there in the first place.
Yeah. Well, GuMiho is transitioning out of Reapers already. There's the full Marine production as well as Stim. What?
Part of me was hoping it would be mech again, man. Like, I know it's 3 Rax Reaper, you're gonna go bio, but maybe that was 3 barracks to build 3 tech labs for 3 factories.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Marine King did it. 4 barracks, so.
Look, I know it didn't happen. We don't need to dance around. It's a bad idea. I just wish it would have happened.
I'm serious. Alright, so the bunkers are on the way as he realizes what soO's plan is. soO could have tried to macro out of this with only a bare minimum amount of Roaches and absolutely no Ling reinforcements, but obviously trying to tear down GuMiho's wall. And unfortunately with Halibus Reef well, I guess it's Ravagers anyways, but this seems even easier to deny now.
It's interesting that he's prioritizing the bunkers behind this. Like, yes, you break that in, I think, no matter what, just because the SCVs can never complete it. But stopping that tech lab from spinning, okay, well, he's like, I got enough corrosive bowels, so I didn't have to worry. What is this corpse? He shuts down Stim, and that's already putting GuMiho so far behind.
It is really good. You know, if he could start it immediately again, I would say it's not that bad, but he's actually having trouble dealing with the roaches, so that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is trying to get your tech back.
Oh no. I was gonna say the tank might save him here, but Lings start flooding in. Corrosive Bile's hit. It's like the SCV repair is gonna be good actually.
Okay,
Gets to the
yeah,
dead
that's
zone.
gonna be good enough. Yeah, you could unsiege it, and there's like still a couple of Reapers, but Ling reinforcements. It's still very close, and all he needs to do is rebuild a tech lab, and he'll wall off again, I think. Surprised he isn't.
Even if it's just temporarily, I think he's putting too much priority on production, but he keeps that tank alive. This thing really is a tank for once.
Yeah, and the second tank joins. That should be enough. Actually, at this point in time, soO may be over-dedicating with his Lings. If you could kill a tank, that would be very helpful for the cost, but he's not going to get one. Oh, and he's just going to tap out. GG.
Well, I know he's probably stunting the VODs because he's a good caster, so I'm just going to say, what's up, Artosis? Enjoy the game. I hope you enjoyed the games.
Yeah, right? Yeah. soO just way too low on the drones. Way too dedicated. Didn't work.
I will say this much, though, for those who don't know how the Olimoleague works, like, there's a lot of prize money for even second place. $50 is not too bad. For soO to take a 50, because that's the difference between first and second. It's $100 for GuMiho, 50 for soO. I actually truly believe that soO is a smart and cunning enough player to have said that $50 loss is worth potentially more of a win in GSL. I mean, again, I'm not trying to read into it. I'm not going to create this false narrative that doesn't actually exist. But I think there's some merit to this because soO is actually like crafty genius bastard, not just mechanically great Zerg, which he also is.
Yeah, I think I feel confident only in saying that these guys might not, like, they won't look into it this much. Like, I don't think the mind games are on mind games or on mind games, or that soO is now super scared he's going to lose GSL because he got 3-0'd. We'll see.
Either way, this was a great week for Olimoleague. The semifinals were definitely, like, soO and Innovation was the sickest matchup today for sure, but GuMiho and soO was not a bad finals. Got to see a taste of mech, which I know I personally love. We don't get to see too often, but that is going to wrap things up. So we'll say our goodbyes, head to one last commercial break. If you want to support the channel, stick around. I will be leaving GatherBot on all day, so while we vodcast later, if you guys want to test it and play with it, please do. It's all just for the sake of learning how to use it, and I think there's some really cool functionality to it. And I really like the aspect of the Bankai's jailing people, and like you have to like get either the bit boss or like the channel owner to pardon them and stuff. Like, it's cool. Anyways, yeah, Zomgroup, thank you for joining me here at the end of the cast. I'm sure it wasn't longer for you because I know you wanted to cast some StarCraft.
I think it was perfect. Like, I felt very lazy, and I didn't do enough StarCraft the last 2 weeks, but I am also really tired, so.
Yeah, I tried to go to bed early for this. I ended up shit posting with tempo for 2 hours longer than I meant to, so I didn't get much sleep. So I'm also excited to sleep. But I gotta get people asked about the dentist story. I'll tell this really quick as we wrap up. TLDR, if you guys remember, like last year we raised some money to get my wisdom teeth out. I went in. Dentist recommended this much more costly procedure. Turns out 7 or something months later, that procedure was actually totally bullshit. He's an idiot. And rather than me suing them, they were just happy to refund me the $5,000 to $6,000 I had spent on this. Now I have to go see a specialist, which I've been waiting a month to see. That's my meeting for today. Hopefully they'll tell me, hey, there's actually nothing wrong. You can just get your teeth fucking yanked so I can get this over with because it's been way too much time coming. So super excited to take a 3-hour train ride to go do that now. Woo.
Hey.
So you get some rest. I'm going to spend the day traveling. Thank you guys for watching the Olimoleague. If you want to follow us on the channel, that'd be awesome. We're getting closer and closer to that 100,000 mark. Of course, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Riff_Kings. She's at ZG Gaming. I don't remember. What's your YouTube and stuff for your YouTube content? I never remember this.
Well, the rest of it is just Zombie Grubs. It's really easy to remember. Patreon, YouTube.
Are you sure? I thought it was Zombie Glen 6.
I already made that joke in chat, man.
Did you see that poster? Like, did you actually see the poster, though?
Well, I saw you took a picture of it. Like, I didn't actually have it in my hands. But the guy came up to me and, like, someone made a joke about it. I was like, what are you talking about? And, yeah, he bought me a shot. So apologize.
Hey, free shot for a typo. Not bad.
It was apparently bad handwriting. He, like, wrote it down and then, like, emailed a picture of it. And then they were like, well, that clearly says Zombie Glen.
Okay, here's the thing. Zombie Glen, I actually understand. Like, that's a typo that I can see. Where did the 6 come from?
Well, I think because it's handwriting, right?
Oh,
they
so the
probably,
B?
like, GRU was, like, Glenn, and then, like, the B was the 6. Like...
Yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, by the way, there's a really awesome poster. They took the time to capitalize everybody's name, like Peely Peely with the weird L's. I was on that list too. It was cool. And then special guests like Rifkin and Zombie Glenn 6. I'm just like, I wasn't sure either because as I was taking Zest home, I was super drunk too. I was not sober. Like, so I'm like, did I see that right? And I took a picture. And when I got back to the hotel, I was a little more sobered up. I was like, oh, it actually said it. I wasn't just like seeing things.
You tried to tweet at me and tweet at yourself. Everyone saw. It was a good time.
Dude, I had really bad drunk tweets that night. Holy fuck. I woke up in the morning and I was like, well, what did I tweet? Oh my God.
Oh, good stuff.
All right, well, guys, again, thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the show. We actually don't have anything really coming up in the super, like, tomorrow immediate future, but we do have a lot of stuff happening this week and next week. But I do need to note that we're going to be gone for, I think, like the 25th and 26th. We're waiting on confirmations for some things. So on the calendar right now, we have the 25th, 26th, 27th as, like, Olimoleague, BTSL, Corsair. That's all getting moved. We actually aren't doing anything for those days. We'll be out of country. Or you'll be in country, funny enough. But we have an unannounced thing, the Road to DreamHack, coming up. This is what I really want to touch up on here quickly. We're going to be doing the BTSL on Thursday, which is going to be another group. Short, sweet, awesome. Then we have about a day gap in between, and an evening we'll be back to do a DreamHack. We'll call it a qualifier. I can't tell you more about it until they release the information publicly, but there's some really cool stuff coming up. So we also, oh man, we need to fill out the calendar for July. It's just how close we are to July. Damn it.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Also, I had to write this down here because I didn't realize it. July 12th. We're not going to be doing anything on July 12th. Not because I'm standing with, like, my brothers in arms, but, like, every website on the fucking internet is shutting down on July 12th, if you guys don't know about this. And Amazon recently announced that they're taking part, so I assume Twitch might be as well. I don't know, but it's like a giant protest in favor of net neutrality. If you don't know what this is, read up on it, because it actually, if you're watching this right now, it impacts you. So July 12th, we have nothing going on, but every other day we got to plan out still. Anyways, that's it. I don't know why I'm still talking. I'm going to play with the bot and chat. I look forward to doing it through the vodcast with you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in a bit. Enjoy these last ads if you're willing, and take care.
Bye.